What's going on, friends? My name is Sean Pierce Johnson, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, to say that guitar technology has come a long way in a very short period of time would pretty much be an understatement. Gear that used to take up 2, 3, 4 spaces in a rack can now be put into a very manageable and pedalboard friendly size. And over the course of, I would say, the last 15 years, it seems like some of that modeling technology that we were introduced to by the Line 6 pod has started to try to be blended with the guitar itself to essentially make an all-in-one package. And that is going to be the subject of our video today as we take a look at the Enya Music Nova Go Sonic guitar. The Nova Go Sonic is indeed made entirely of carbon fiber, from the body to the neck, up to the headstock, and even the fretboard. This thing is a very lightweight instrument, but it's very rigid. We're not going to have any headstock breaks, and we're going to experience very little neck shift. Now, as a Les Paul and single cut lover, I am very comfortable not only with the body shape, but also the scale length. It is the typical Gibson 24 3/4 scale length with 22 frets. Now, something that is interesting about the neck is the fact that the fretboard is a 16-inch radius. So this thing is super fast, super flat, super playable. And not only that, the neck has a compound radius. So it's a bit chunkier down here in the open cowboy position, and then gets flatter the higher up the fretboard you go. And thanks to the fact that it's basically one piece of carbon fiber molded together, this upper fret access is absolutely insane. As far as electronics go, the basic stuff, we have 2 Enya humbucking pickups in the neck and the bridge position, and we have a single volume control with a 3-way toggle switch. Now, what is cool is that the volume control is a push-pull knob, and this essentially gets you series and parallel sounds out of the 2 humbuckers. So when you pull it out, you get a much more single coil style sound out of these humbuckers than when you have it pushed in, which is much more meaty and full voice. So as an instrument, it's pretty straightforward and bare bones, but it's when we get into the deeper electronics of the Nova Go Sonic that we really start to see what makes this special. First and foremost, you will have noticed the little holes in this cavity right here on the body. This is actually a built-in 10 to 12 watt speaker because you can turn on by pressing and holding this little button right here. It also acts as a master volume control. You have a self-amplified guitar. Now, this guitar has built-in amplification and modeling, but how are you going to make adjustments to those sounds? Well, Enya Music has its own app to go alongside their instruments that allows you access to different amp and effects sounds to be able to create different presets or browse some that they've created themselves. And that's pretty much everything that you need to know about the Nova Go Sonic, so let's get down to the testing phase of this video. The first thing we want to do is test this as a normal, straight-up electric guitar. I'm just going to plug an instrument cable into my amplifiers. We'll switch around between the Rocker Verb, maybe the MT100, maybe we'll even just use a modeler for all our tone needs. Whatever you're hearing, I will let you know on the screen. So let's check out some cleans, some crunches, and maybe some high gain stuff with these built-in pickups. But now we need to test the internal modeling and sounds on the Novago Sonic. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on. I'm going to turn up that master volume, and we are going to mic up the internal speaker. Now I'm just going to be using an AKG C414 for this. So you're going to hear a little bit of room noise. You're going to hear a little bit of pick and string noise, but that's because it's a condenser and it's picking up the general ambient sound. I just don't feel like miking it up with an SM57 is such a good idea to show you a true playing experience. Now, you don't need to be an eagle-eyed or eagle-eared viewer to have heard some of those feedback issues that the internal speaker has. Now, I want to make mention, that is not necessarily a knock against the design of this instrument or a knock against an affordable instrument. As a matter of fact, I have played more expensive hand-built instruments, guitars, that have built-in speakers for amplification, and they have the same kind of feedback issues. You have to play everything very carefully, set things accordingly, because certain frequencies are going to feed back more than others. When you think about it, you have your microphone right here next to your amplification. It's creating a feedback loop, and then couple in the resonance that happens in this body, because it is a bit chambered, you're going to encounter it. It's not a knock against the Novago Sonic itself. It's just a symptom of this particular type of instrument. It's just going to happen. And for our final test, let's go ahead and fire up the Enya Music app, connect it to the Novago Sonic, and explore some of the presets and the tone shaping capabilities that you have in the app. Now, I'm just going to plug this directly into the DAW so we don't have to mess around with any of the internal speaker controls. Now you can see from the screen grab, this app is not the most robust editor software in the world. It only has 2 amplifiers and a very basic set of effects. However, it omits something as simple as an overdrive pedal, which I actually think for the heavier tones, a lot more heavy music players would want to see something like that, you know, a tube screamer at the very least. So maybe with future firmware updates, the app will get better, more sounds will be added, and we'll have a wider tonal library to play around with. So having put the Novago Sonic through all this testing, can I recommend that you pick one of these up for yourself? Well, with the $439 price tag that it currently sits at in US dollars, this is a pretty cool option. First off, as a guitar, I think it shows a lot of potential, and I've really enjoyed playing it. I was actually surprised that I didn't need to do that much setup work on it, just tune it up and stretch out the strings a little bit, and I was actually having a really great time with this just as an electric guitar. I think the pickups are really quite nice for, you know, what they are, and you get series and parallel switching, which you don't usually find on a guitar at this price point. If anything, the biggest hurdle for most people watching this video, it's gonna come down to the lack of options in the app and some of the issues that come along with a guitar that has its own built-in speaker. You're gonna have to play around with that app quite a bit in order to make sure that you don't always overload that speaker and you're constantly experiencing feedback. However, I will say this, if you know what you're doing, most of the time you can figure it out and it's not gonna be that big of a problem. And if it is, you can always just bring the master volume back just a little bit until that feedback goes away. Now, when it comes to the built-in speaker, I actually had a scenario where this was incredible to have and helped me out a lot. I was playing something from my church. I can't remember if it was the kids' camp or the prayer time. I think it was the kids' camp. But anyway, I got the set list fairly early afternoon time the day before, maybe a couple days before, and I just didn't really have the opportunity to come up here, plug into my full rig, and start working on the parts. So all I did was I fired up my phone, connected it to Bluetooth via the app and the Novago Sonic's internal speaker, turned it on, dialed up a fairly praise and worshipy typical kind of sound, and practiced along to the track. And actually successfully practiced. Like, actually got stuff done with just the internal speaker and this guitar. This was all I needed, and I actually found myself really impressed that I was actually able to have an effective practice session with the Novago Sonic. So essentially, I can recommend this to you, but I do express a few cautions. But that is just my opinion on the Enya Novago Sonic. Now, I want to hear from all of you. If you have any questions on this guitar, I will do my best to answer each and every one of them in the comments section down below. And if you enjoyed this video at any point or learned something, I would greatly appreciate your support so that I can keep making videos just like this. The best way to do that is to sign up for my email list. You go to SeanPierceJohnson.com/email, enter your name and email address, and you're joined. You get links to all my videos sent direct to your email inbox, and you're also entered into club exclusive giveaways, one of which I will be announcing pretty soon, so it might have something to do with one of these. So if you liked this enough, you might have a chance to win one. So you might want to subscribe to that. I thank you all so much for joining me and the Enya Novago Sonic in this video today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until we see each other again, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all watching great tone, great health, and of course, happy stomping. Cheers, friends. God bless.